Okay, we're gonna try and get this filmed before I lose all of the daylight. Normally that wouldn't be an issue because I have a ring light, but it has decided to finally kick the bucket today, and it has chosen today. So it's fine. We'll just film it, we'll be okay. I'm also looking remarkably Halloween-y considering that it's like Christmas season. I'm more of a moody autumnal vibe kind of person anyways, so this makes sense to me. Welcome, NaNoWriMo is officially over and I am doing kind of like a little wrap-up video. I'm going to talk about where I left off in my project, how much I got done, what goals I had for the month that did not get met, what goals did get met. I'll show you my NaNoWriMo graph. We had a couple questions come in over YouTube and Instagram just about the whole NaNoWriMo process, and then at the end of the video we are going to finish it off with my goals for December. So I ended up finishing NaNoWriMo with around 65,000 words. I will put the exact amount on the screen. I ended up winning on November 24th, as you all know, because I posted it on my channel. And then I continued to write. So that is how I got to 65,000, is because I kind of just kept writing and I was really on a roll. So I kept going with it. I think right now it's sitting at about 13 chapters. 65,000 words with only 13 chapters is not a good word to chapter ratio for me. I prefer short chapters, and these are not short chapters. And I ended up finishing just before the midpoint of my outline. So I actually went into NaNoWriMo this year trying to use it as a way to write an entire novel in a month. I did a poll over on my Patreon asking what my patrons would like to see first as like a writing challenge, and it was tied between two, one of which was writing an entire novel in 30 days. So me, being the genius that I am, decided that I was going to use NaNoWriMo as a way to motivate myself to try and write an entire novel in a month. 65,000 words could be a novel. So I hit novel length, but it's not a novel for me. I'm noticing that there's just way too much that I put into the fantasy novels that I write for me to have finished a novel in under a month. It is next to impossible for me to do something like that. For example, when I was writing Blood of Amberum, I thought I would finish by 80K. It ended up being 114K, and that is the first draft, and that is when I was rushing at the end. So there will be more words when I'm doing this second pass through. 25,000 words of just notes and outline stuff for Blood of Amberum. So how I thought I could finish an entire first draft of a novel for me in under a month is beyond me, but I have a habit of biting off more than I can chew, which is what I did. But 65,000 is nothing for me to scoff at, you know, like that's good. It's a solid amount of words in a month. So yeah, we are nearly at the midpoint for the high fantasy pirate adventure that I'm currently working on called Between the Waves. That's the Nano project. And we're almost at the midpoint at 65,000 words. Will it be longer than Blood of Amberum? It's certainly looking that way, isn't it? So let's talk a little bit about some goals that I had for NaNoWriMo. The main one being a goal of creating a habit of writing every single day. I didn't hit that goal. So even though I hit the word count goal, I had habit and behavior goals that I didn't meet. I wanted to write every single day, even if that was the tiniest little bit. And what ended up happening instead is that I started to do days where I had huge word count days, and then I would take 2 to 5 days off and not write anything. Obviously at the end of the day that worked, but it does mean that I only actually wrote about 60% of the days during this month. That goal was not met, which is so unfortunate because you'd think that because I got such a high word count, that means that I smashed all my goals. But I think it's important to mention that I had goals beyond word count, as it's important for everyone to have goals beyond word count, that I ended up not hitting because I was so focused on the word count. So I would just go hard and try to hit the word counts, and then I would have to take a couple days off because of the kind of ebb and flow of how I was doing things. So in the future, I would like to develop a steadier method for hitting word goals, but more so just writing in general. So a quick little wrap up on that part of the video before I get into the questions that were asked is that I am bitter about word goals now. I have shut off my word count. I'm not looking at my word count anymore for this draft. It doesn't make sense for me to, and I have decided not to because it is more beneficial and it is more creatively efficient for me to not look at the word count, because I am very black and white, tunnel vision when it comes to that kind of thing. And I know myself and I know my creative process, and I know that hitting word counts is not what I need for my creative process right now. So I have shut off word counts. It was an extraordinarily productive month. I hit 65,000 words, which is insane. However, doing this challenge has made me realize that it is not the way that I want to write in the future. So you win some, you learn some. I got 2 questions on Instagram regarding NaNoWriMo, one of which is how to cope with nano failure. And I think this kind of ties back to what I was just talking about. Word count is not everything. And I think that in order to cope with the failure of not hitting the nano word count is just to remind yourself that if you made progress on your story, whether that was just an intense amount of outlining and research, whether all you did was daydream and listen to playlists and come up with ideas all month, that is success in and of itself. There are building blocks to creating a novel, and all of the building blocks are important. Word count is just one of those building blocks. And if you didn't happen to hit that building block this month, but you hit a bunch of others that are all part of building this big, beautiful world that your novel exists in, this like living, breathing story, then that's totally okay. Word count is just a tiny little part of it. If you did other things like inspiration and research and prepping and outlining and even just thinking about your novel, that is success in and of itself. NaNoWriMo is a very, very narrow way to gauge success, and it's just a fun challenge for writers. It is not the be-all and end-all of what makes a successful writer. So if you didn't necessarily hit that word count goal, just know that I just know that you did other things that are making you a better writer, that are making you a better author, that are making you a better creative. So don't be too upset if you didn't hit that word count, because it is far from the most important thing. The most important thing is that you care about your novel, you believe in your stories, and you have the creative passion to want to pursue them. As long as you have that, you did not fail. You got this. I have faith in you. And the second question was, do you think setting only a month as a deadline affected your writing quality? I know it affected mine. I'm gonna say yes on that one. I have a habit of trying to edit as I go. It's not necessarily the best habit, but it kind of keeps me in line. However, doing a challenge like NaNoWriMo doesn't really give me the space to go back and do those edits all the time as I'm writing the first draft. So yeah, I would definitely say that it affected the quality of the writing, because when you narrow your focus onto such a specific part of writing as a word count, you start to deprioritize the other areas of writing. For example, staying to your plot lines and staying to your subplots and making sure that the quality is good. Those things really take a backseat when all you are focusing is the word count goal. So there's a very high chance that your quality of writing is going to suffer because of that. I know that mine definitely did. But again, it's nothing to really fuss about, because words are words, and the fun part about being writers is that we kind of get to take them and mold them into whatever we want. So you could have entire chapters that make 0 sense and you still get to build something out of that. So yeah, definitely lowered the quality, but we've still got something to work with, and that is the most important part. And then James asked on YouTube, now that you've actually done the Nano Challenge, what would you go back and do differently during Preptober? This is a great question, and I would like to mention now that in the future, I don't think I'll do traditional NaNoWriMo again. I wanted to do it the traditional way because this is my first ever official NaNoWriMo. I think that in the future I will be a Nano Rebel. I am not going to give a crap about my word count because that's just not functional for me. It's not creatively efficient for me. In the future, I won't be as rigid about the rules because I have done it the traditional way. I see the appeal. It's a fun challenge. I do not think that it is necessarily going to be the way for me to reach my creative goals. So in the future, I think my prep's gonna look a lot different because I am not going to be strictly prepping for a brand new novel and then starting a brand new novel. In the future, it's probably just going to be organizing myself and replotting and re-outlining because I'll probably already be working on a novel and I'll want to use NaNoWriMo to work on that. It's hard to think of anything else that I might change specifically, but I think that also I'm not going to limit myself and tell myself I'm not allowed to start writing the book until November 1st. If I'm starting a brand new book around that time, I'm starting a brand new book. Like, I'm not waiting until November 1st because that's just not going to work for me. And when I have a creative current that is passing nearby me, I'm diving in. Like, I'm not just gonna sit there and watch it and be like, I'll just wait until November 1st and then I'll jump in. Nope, I'm jumping in, whether I've got the right gear prepped or not. I lied. I was going to include my December goals and timeline for this year, but I'm gonna do that in a separate video because I don't want to feel rushed for it. And also I am running out of daylight and I want to get this up tomorrow. I would love to know how all of your NaNoWriMos went. I would love to know what you worked on, if you were a Nano Rebel or if you did it traditionally, if it was your first time, what you thought of it. Just give me your thoughts and feelings about Nano. And if you don't feel like talking too much about it, just let me know the title of the work in progress that you have, because that always gets me really excited. I'm a big fan of titles. All right, we gotta go because it's practically dark out at this point. So thank you guys so much for watching the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe and check out my Patreon if you're interested. I really love all of the support that everyone has been giving me, and I'm so excited for you all to be along on the journey over the next multiple years when I'm like trying to get published and revising and doing all of the fun. I'm just feeling very grateful and very fortunate and very excited for the future, which is a good way to feel. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Don't forget to smile, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.